So I did this video last week where I talked about the fact that DoorDash spanked Para after Para tried to start circumventing the DoorDash platform to get people information again. And when I did this video, I got a little bit of blowback from it. And today I want to talk to you about a comment that one of the people made, which was Acacia. It was a really good dialogue I had with her, and we had a lot of conversation about it. And today I kind of want to break down for you a little bit more about how I feel about Para and the transparency of DoorDash, and kind of go into a little bit with you. My name is John McFall, and I want to welcome you to the McFallRI channel, where I teach you how to make $25 to $30 an hour doing food delivery. In today's video, I want to go through a conversation that I had with Acacia and kind of break down for you guys a little bit more about how I feel about it and where I am with it, so that Acacia and everybody else can understand. The first thing I want to say about it is thank you so much, Acacia, for the conversation. I really enjoyed the dialogue back and forth. It was a really fun conversation that we had. One thing I want to say about it, though, is I kind of feel like you heard some things that I didn't say in my video when it came to Para and what I actually said in the video. I really didn't ever in the video say anything to the point that I thought that it was okay that DoorDash doesn't have transparency when they send us orders. I truly believe this is wrong. I truly believe it's incorrect. Uber Eats and GrubHub, they send us the full payout when they send us orders. Uber Eats, it could be more or less, but they give you a guesstimate on what the total payout is going to be, and DoorDash doesn't. I don't feel that this is right. I don't feel it's correct that DoorDash hides information from us on their platform, and I feel that they should not do it. On the other hand, I also feel that it is against the terms of service to use another app to circumvent the system. And for me, this is a moral and ethical thing, and this is just the way I feel. I will never use another app to circumvent one of the apps that I'm on. This also applies in other things in my life. I do not do things that go against or violate an agreement that I have with a person or with a business. And this is just how I feel, and this is just the way it is. I don't think that it's right that DoorDash does it the way that they do it, but at the same time, I agreed to the terms that they have on their agreement when I signed up, and I will not go against it. So I want to kind of clear that up with you, Acacia. I don't agree with DoorDash. At the same time, I don't agree with using Para. The second thing I want to say about this whole situation is this, is I have heard over, the whole time I've been watching YouTube videos for food delivery, that people complain and complain and complain about these apps and what they do and what they don't do. And yes, there are some legitimate problems. I completely agree with it. At the same time, though, we've seen people try to put on strikes. We've seen people standing in front of Tony's home picketing and trying to get his attention to say things are wrong and that they need to change. And this is all well and good, but the problem that we have as a gig group of people that are going against these apps is there is just not enough participation from people that is really going to get the attention of any of these apps. DoorDash currently has about 2.5 million drivers across the world. And yeah, there are, some organizations. There was one that had like 27,000, people that were part of that group. It was called Decline Now. Don't really even hear about them anymore. But back, a year ago, there was a group called Decline Now, and they had like 27,000 people on their Facebook group that was going to take on DoorDash. And when you think about 27,000 people compared to 2.5 million drivers that DoorDash has, that's a very minute amount. It's almost only 1% of the total drivers. There's a lot of people that come on here to YouTube and watch gig tubers like me. I'm just a small guy still. I have just over 1,600 subscribers, and even those that have, you know, let's say, you know, 50 or 60 or 70,000 subscribers, this is a small amount compared to the total amount of drivers that are out there. If you really want to affect change at an organization like DoorDash, from our standpoint as drivers, you've got to get a large group of people that are going to get behind you in your cause, so that you can go to these companies and say, look, a huge group of us want this change to happen. And if you don't have a large enough group, the organizations, whether it's DoorDash, Uber Eats, GrubHub, you know, Instacart or Shipt or any of these other platforms, they're not going to really even pay attention to you. You're not big enough to even, you know, get them to even notice you. So Acacia, I understand where you're coming from, and I understand that it's wrong, but, you know, people coming on to social media and just complaining about the platforms isn't going to make the changes that you want to make and that I want to make on the platforms, because there's just not enough people on there to get any traction with the companies. So while I agree with you that transparency is something that DoorDash should do, in the current environment, we're not really going to be able to affect change with them unless we get a very large group of people that you know, confronts these companies to get that change to happen and to come into effect. So I really, you know, think that we all, you know, should maybe stop just complaining on social media about it. If you want to make a change, you know, get a large number of people that are going to back you, so that you can have, you know, a little bit of a foothold with these companies to affect that change. So I guess the bottom line is this, is yes, I do completely disagree that DoorDash doesn't show us all the information. I really believe that they should. I also think that they should listen to drivers when we're out here and doing the daily grind on these platforms, and we see things that are incorrect. I've done a lot of videos. I've done some videos where I've talked about the fact that every time I go into a restaurant, the restaurant tells me it's going to be more than about, you know, 8 minutes for me to get an order, and I call the platform. I've called DoorDash numerous times and said, this is not correct, that you make me stay here and don't pay me any more money for sitting here waiting for this order to get done, and if I give it back to you, that takes a ding on my completion rating. I have done this every time this has happened to me. I get on the phone and I talk to support, and I tell them that this policy is wrong. I've also had the support agents, when I got on the phone with them, they said, yes, I completely agree with you that this is incorrect and this should not be happening, but there's nothing that we can do about it because it's just the policy of the company. Same thing applies to when it comes to transparency. I think it is wrong. I think it's incorrect. I don't think DoorDash should do it the way that they do it. But you're not going to get them to listen to you if you don't have a large enough group of people that are going to step up and say, yes, this is wrong. So while you know, Acacia, you kind of pointed to the fact that you thought that I might just be sitting on my laurels and not really doing anything about it, you're absolutely correct, because there's not enough people that will get behind me and stand with me against DoorDash in this gig economy to affect these changes. So yes, I know what to do. I know how to do it. I could make it happen if I had enough people supporting me, but there's just not enough people that will. So yeah, I completely disagree with using Para. I think it is wrong. I don't think you should use it. It violates your terms of service. Morally and ethically, I feel it is wrong to do, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that I agree with DoorDash and their transparency policies and think that it's okay that they do what they do. So I hope that I cleared the air a little bit and helped you understand a little bit more where I'm coming from when I'm talking about Para and the fact that I don't agree with it. I'm not going to change my mind with it. I don't agree with it, and I won't. At the same time, I don't think that there's enough people out here that are willing to step up and do something about it with DoorDash on this tip transparency that's going to affect the changes. So when I get on YouTube and I watch other videos from other gig tubers just ranting and raving and complaining about it, you know, I kind of turn them off because it's not going to affect any change. So I want to remind you that down here in my description I have some great tools for you. The one I want to talk to you about is my metric spreadsheet. If you want to improve how you're doing out here doing food delivery, it starts by keeping track of your numbers. That's why I put this spreadsheet together for you guys. I'm going to throw it up here on the screen real quick so you guys can check it out. If you look at the left hand side, you'll see I always put my start time and my end time. This gives me the total time that I've worked. I also put in the miles, and then if you head to the right, you'll see for each individual app I put the dollars that I made, the time that I worked, along with the number of deliveries. Head to the bottom then and you'll see it calculates out what your average dollar per hour, dollar per mile, and your average per order. If you want to get to that $25 to $30 an hour doing food delivery, it starts by keeping track of your numbers. This will help show you where you are and where you need to improve. So head down in my description and go grab a free copy of it for yourself. I'd also like to ask you to like this video and to subscribe to this channel. Finally, I want to say I hope that you are out there getting the money that you and your family deserve. And with that, I want to say thanks.